Good afternoon, everyone. I am Robin McLaughlin, Associate Alumni Director here at Northwood University. Thank you for joining us for today's alumni webinar, When Back in My Day meets Let Me Google That, Managing the Challenges of Baby Boomers Returning to the Contemporary Workplace. If you have any questions during today's webinar, please submit them using the Q&A feature. We'll address them at the end. It's my pleasure to introduce our speaker, Dr. Janisse Green. Dr. Green is an adjunct faculty member at Northwood University and an accomplished educator and workforce strategist with more than 20 years of experience. She holds degrees in accounting, science, and business administration, along with State of Michigan teacher certification. She is also a global career development facilitator, a SHRM certified professional, and Project Management Institute member. As president of JLG Consulting Group, Dr. Green partners with organizations across sectors to strengthen workforce development systems and build sustainable talent pipelines. Her expertise spans adult learning, instructional design, change management, data analytics, leadership development, and HR compliance. At the heart of her work is a belief that learning is lifelong, and she is dedicated to helping others of all ages grow and thrive in a changing world. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Janisse Green.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Robin. That's quite a bit. That was lengthy. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Robin. Thank you, Northwood University staff. And of course, thank you to Northwood alumni for giving me this opportunity today. I want us to talk about back in my day, let me Google that. Managing the challenges of baby boomers returning to the contemporary workplace. Thank you. The contemporary workplace is undergoing significant demographic transformation as baby boomers remain in or return to employment beyond traditional retirement age. And I apologize for not telling you to move to the next slide. Thank you, though. Our workforce is becoming more diverse. Boomers are staying longer or they're returning to organizations, but they must adapt. They must adapt, and they're having some difficulty adapting. But not only are they having the difficulty adapting, the managers of these organizations are also having challenges. Next slide, please. So who are the baby boomers? This population was born 1946, 1964, grew up with the rotary phone, memos, in-person meetings, and then we have the workplace where the baby boomers often found friendships. Boomers bring to the organization loyalty and a strong work ethic. This generation is structured. It has need for clarity, and it loves to have face-to-face communication. Next, please. Generational biases. Every generation has biases. We're going to go over 4 of them, generations and the biases. However, when we have an opportunity to work alongside these generations, we observe their characteristics, their behavior, and we become comfortable with some of the differences that we have. Next, please. What we believe about the baby boomers. 1946 to 1964, baby boomers entered adulthood during economic expansion, where hard work and reliability led to upward mobility. Why others have biases about them? Their confidence in traditional systems can be interpreted as resistance to change. We hear that quite frequently in HR, that the older workers refuse to change, they're slow about changing, they don't want to change, those types of things. Next slide, please. What we believe about Generation X, 1965 to 1980 Generation Xers were those latchkey kids who learned independence early due to rising divorce rates and dual income households. Those of you who are in the audience, I want you to think back and think about those times that you encountered Generation X. Maybe you are a Generation X. What do you feel about this? Do you think that you have these biases? Why others have biases about them? Their independence can be misread as disengagement. Next, please. What we believe about millennials, 1981 to 1996, why they have biases. Millennials entered adulthood during recessions, student debt crisis, and unstable job market, why others have biases about them. Their job mobility is often a response to economic instability, but older generations may see this as disloyalty. I hear this quite a bit in HR, especially when we're reviewing resumes. We see that those persons who are millennials have maybe a job longevity of 2 years, 3 years, five different jobs in the last 10 years, or those types of things. And persons who are older see this as them being disloyal. They don't want to stick with the company. They don't appreciate the operational aspects of companies. Next slide, please. What we believe about Generation Z. This is 1997, 2019, why they have biases. Generation Z grew up with smartphones, social media, and constant information flow, why others have biases about them. Their digital fluency can be mistaken for lack of interpersonal skills. I am professionally and personally involved and see daily Generation Zs. They are, they have a mindset that they are personable. They also have a mindset as to older generations not understanding that they simply don't care. I have talked to some Generation Zs about, uh, I have talked about Generation Zs. I'm reading the questions about their personality, about being rude or disrespectful. And when I talk to them, they don't see it. But I have heard this over and over and over from Generation Zs. You're making too much out of it. You're too involved in the process. Let it go. Those kinds of terms I hear frequently. So I try to explain to them that these types of comments that they make and are seen as disrespectful. And but they're not hearing it. I'm telling you, they're not hearing it. Next slide, please. One thing I want to talk about before we move on to this is during the Q&A, I'd like for you to tell me what your experiences are, and if you have some of those biases, and whether or not you work with this particular generation, and because of how you work with them, have you changed your mind about things or what's going on? The increase in baby boomers re-entering the workforce causes challenges. The contemporary workplace is increasingly composed of multi-generations working together. Managers often Managers often use strategies designed for younger workers, which doesn't always translate well with boomers. Also, this may make them feel undervalued. In the same vein, younger workers may feel misunderstood. Thank you, Robert, though. This is good. Thank you. Why are baby boomers returning to work? Financial considerations, social engagement, physical and mental stability, continued professional relevance. Let's talk about that for a minute. These retirees, or these baby boomers, have retired, and in their positions, they were CEOs, presidents, CFOs, very important positions in their organization. So once they're retired, no one's calling them for advice. No one's asking them to be a mentor. They're missing this professional relevance. So that's another reason why they're going back into the workplace so that they can be relevant not only to themselves, but they actually feel like they have knowledge and expertise that they can lend to different organizations. They will also want to redefine their personal life. I've talked to these baby boomers, and they are excited about going back to school. They are excited about having a different career. They are also excited about being energized by the generations that they're working with in the workplace. Employers are willing to hire them. I'm talking to several HR managers who are hiring baby boomers. They are hiring them and they are very happy with their performance. They come to work. This is what I'm hearing. They come to work on time. They don't complain. We are willing to work with them with their schedule, with their health concerns, those kinds of things. And they're willing to do whatever it takes in order for that organization to survive. Okay, thank you. All right, so the baby boomers struggle with technology, and everyone knows this. Rapid organizational change and new workplace norms, which creates a second layer of challenges, and this is for the managers. The manager is no longer just supporting the employee, they must also attempt to navigate the operation, the culture, and the employee's performance. I'm going to talk about a couple of these challenges for the baby boomers. And of course, it's the technology. But what I'm seeing is that the baby boomers are willing to go back to school, they're willing to be mentored, and they have a fondness for learning. Um, the other one I want to talk about is the hybrid work schedule. And I have HR managers asking me all the time, why are they having problems with this? Because no one else is. And it's because that's the reason why they're going back to work, because they don't want to be at home. But not only that, they truly believe that in order for them to have excellent performance, they have to be in a brick and mortar. They have to be where they can touch the papers. They have to be where they can talk to Robin, or they can talk to Dan, or they can talk to whomever they're having a project with, communicating. And we talked about that face-to-face communication. Thank you. What managers can do: provide patience, structured training tailored to adult learners, normalize learning curves so baby boomers don't feel singled out. I find that managers, whenever they have a new process or a new procedure, and they are evaluating the measurement that it's going to take for the employees to learn this new process or procedure, they always ask the best employee, the employee who um, doesn't take time. I mean, it doesn't take much time to do anything. They're excellent, they're efficient. And so, as a consequence, this is where the manager um, normalizes the learning curve. So, what I'm recommending is that when you develop your time and your measurement for how employees should learn, take this in consideration that all of the generations, that some may take longer than others. Pair baby boomers with younger tech mentors to build mutual respect. Let me just say this: this is an excellent idea. However, pairing them with a computer technician is, I'm going to say, not the best thing. Not unless they are very personable. In my, and Dan, I love you, but let me just say this. In my profession, I have done workshops for computer technicians to develop personal skills because they have a tendency to focus on their expertise and not communicating with their particular customer. So if you have a computer technician that also has an excellent personality, feel free to pull those two together. But if you really want this type of program to be successful, just bring in an employee who is knowledgeable about technology and who has an excellent personality. So communicate change early, clearly, and with purpose. This is all the time. Document performance objectively to avoid age bias pitfalls. I am telling you, I've talked to managers and I also teach business management and students. They say some of the most uncomfortable comments about older workers. Well, we would have finished the project earlier, but we had this old lady on our team and she wasn't getting anything, and those kinds of things. Or they'll say, well, I think if Dr. Green was maybe 10 years younger, she'd probably get it quicker. So I have talked to HR managers, I have talked to managers, I have talked to students who have made these statements. And I am saying to you, be cognizant of what you're saying and how you say it. And so, in my opinion, if you say that in an open dialogue, what are you saying to the employee? What are you saying to the employee? So there, here is just recommending that you are objective and that you don't put any of those older worker, 10 years younger comments into your paperwork or into your conversation. Celebrate the value boomers bring: judgment, reliability, and professionalism. All right, we have some action steps. I'm not going to read all of them. I'm not going to go over all of them, but I am going to go over a couple of them. So the first one is to include a strategic direction when hiring, managing, and retaining employees. What I am finding is that There is not a strategy when we go to hire, when we're managing, or even when we try to retain baby boomers, okay, in this multi-generational work place. So I'm asking that you sit down, do your strategic planning, and that you implement and that you organize, and of course, that you monitor what you're doing. Let me see. Develop a proactive approach to multi-generational integration, starting with the approved HR recruitment, selection, and hiring process. I say start there, but be proactive instead of reactive, because if you're having multi-generational um, workplace and you are having baby boomers, prepare. This may happen, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to integrate this policy, this procedure in, so that everyone that comes to our door is comfortable with each other. Okay. The last one I'm going to go over is build and encourage social connections for employees through creating a culture of team development, accepting of diverse work styles, positive feedback, and regular activities. This seems to be obvious, but I will tell you this. You really have to focus on it. You really have to think about it. You really have to intentionally do these things: team development, accepting of diverse work styles, accepting of diverse people, positive feedback. Positive. I always say thank you first. When you're hearing something negative, say thank you first, and that shakes everything loose. But I would say this: my experiences, and I'm going to go over some more of this. I have seen multi-generational workplaces where they're doing TikTok videos, they're doing YouTube videos, they're doing videos about their managers, they're doing videos about their management style, and it's not serious, it's fun, and they're interacting with each other. And this is what baby boomers love. They love friendship, they love the energy that the younger generations are bringing. Next slide, please. So here's my final recommendations and the takeaways. Develop a reverse mentoring program, include digital literacy workshops. Now, there are literacy workshops literally everywhere. Community college, the senior citizen recreation centers, they're everywhere. So, and they're free. So I'm recommending that your workplace do some collaboration with these different organizations so that you can get your baby boomers in there so that they will have an improved digital learning process and experience. Conduct regular team building activities. I just talked about the YouTube videos, and I've seen the several workplace. They're doing the line dancing. They're doing line dancing at lunch. They're doing line dancing maybe a couple of days after work, those kinds of things. I have also seen where these workplaces are exchanging music. They're exchanging music, maybe through the speakers. They're playing rock one day, R&B another day, and the employees are getting an opportunity to talk about these things. Okay. I encourage knowledge sharing at platforms, and then the takeaways. Baby boomers are increasingly returning to multi-generational workplace, managers must strategize to encourage the workplace. I'm going to repeat this several times today. Empathy, effective communication, trust, and respect. You can go ahead to the next slide. These are the references. We're in academia. We know we have to have our references. We know we have to have our reference list. Go to the next slide, please. Thank you so much for today. I want to thank the alumni for the opportunity. Here is my contact information, and you also can scan this QR code for my contact information. And I must say, my picture on this QR code is so much better than the other one that I have. Robin, you want to do the Q&A now?
Thank you so much, Janisse. Thank you everyone for joining. I am going to stop share, I think, Dan. Let's see, technology-wise, we know. Okay, now I can see. All right. If you have any questions, you can submit them in the Q&A. We got one question for you, Janisse. Can you speak on the importance of patience and understanding when trying to get baby boomers up to speed with today's modern work environment?
I would say this, patience is a virtue. It is important because when I teach mature learners computer technology. They'll often say, "You are so patient with us. You are so patient." But I ask them about their experience. Why are you saying I'm so patient? Their experience is, say, for example, they have a new Apple phone and they're trying to use a new tool. And they'll ask someone, their son, their grandchild, someone. So what they do, they take it. They take the phone and they'll do whatever it was that they wanted, and then they'll hand it back to them. And that person will say, the baby boomer will say, "Well, what did you do?" "Well, oh, don't worry about it. The next time you want something, just come ask me." So one thing that I want to emphasize is baby boomers like procedures. Step one, step two, step three, step four. They appreciate procedures. So if you're trying to teach, make sure you're using procedure and patience. Absolutely, absolutely. Patience is a necessity. Thank you.
Yeah. I'm just going through some of the comments, and Krista Plummer was saying that I think that because Gen Z has grown up on electronics and social media, we expect them to be tech savvy in ways that they are not. She sees it in the classroom as we move to a world of completing assignments online. We expect students to automatically know how to use the technology, but it's not always the case, and it's not always an easy transition for them. Um,
I think that's an excellent comment, and that is so true. I even asked, I let them know, I said, back in my day, I had to go to the library to
yeah.
find out, and you have it right in your hand. And they'll say, "Well, Dr. Green, can you tell me?" I said, "You have the information in your hand, use it." And so I'm finding that out with the AI. I'm finding that students of that generation, they're using it, but they don't know how. They're copying everything verbatim. I'm going like, so I agree with that person who made that comment. Thank you.
Yeah. Speaking of AI, how do you see like the different generations using AI? Um,
I would say once you get the baby boomer to accept that they have a lot of conspiracy theorists, and then they have a lot of erroneous information about AI. But once you explain it to them, they're all in. And I would also say that some persons, I think is Generation Zs, they are really, they're loving it, but they love the fact that they can decipher when it's AI. They love it. They're going, "Oh no, no, that's AI." you know.
Yeah.
So I find that baby boomers will use it if, once they find out it's not going to jump out of the computer and hurt them. Okay. I'm just,
Uh,
thank you.
yeah. We don't have any other questions submitted
Okay.
just yet. If anyone has one, feel free to put it in the Q&A or the chat. We can get Janice to answer one of those. And if it's okay with you, Janice, is it okay if we share your slides in the follow-up email?
Yes, of
Okay,
course.
perfect.
And
We'll
then
send that so everyone has.
the I did have a question about anyone who has experienced the multi-generational workplace and what they've done and has it been successful?
All right, we got one question that came in. As the former professor, Mr. Aronson told us in the 80s, read the manual, but now the manual is digital.
That's a great comment.
All right, one more question. Okay, how do you deal with cultural dependence AI is creating?
Wow, that's an excellent question because that is actually happening, and I'm willing to study that one. That's a good research question because there is initially that persons were hesitant. Now they're just all in, and if they want to define a word, they're asking AI and make it better and those kinds of things. Figure out my income taxes for 2027 and those kinds of things. So that's an excellent question. And if you'd like to contact me, we maybe we can get some research on it.
I love it. All right, I don't think we have any other questions. So thank you everyone for joining us. We will share the slide deck so you can have Janice's contact information and the great resources that she provided. Thank you for joining us today, and we hope we can see you next month at the May webinar.